Good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's show on the 6th day of December. Well, 27 degrees and sunny in a glorious looking Brisbane morning here today. Well, right now, as we are on the cusp of getting our paper to the press, so you can get your copies, the Christmas edition, out this weekend. So you can go to your favorite outlets and pick up the copies. Well, right now, what do we have for you today? We have the news update, the daily India report, and of course the upcoming functions and events. Well, right now, let's take a look at what's making news right here in Brisbane. A man has died after being mauled by multiple issues with dogs.
A lone tribute marks the place where tragedy struck. On Saturday morning, 42-year-old Kane Minion was attacked and killed by two dogs on this Greenbank property. A subcontractor for Energex, he was reading electrical meters at the time.
Our understanding is that Kane had visited this home on numerous occasions to read the meter, so he may well have felt comfortable with the premises. Friends have turned to Facebook to pay tribute, saying, "R.I.P. Kane Minion, hard to believe, rest in peace," and "Sorry for your loss, R.I.P. Kane." Kane was a great bloke and well loved by his workmates. A neighbour who didn't want to go on camera has told ABC News the tragedy is made worse by being this close to Christmas and the fact Mr Minion was just trying to do his job. Meter readers are issued with a citronella spray to use in the event of dog attacks. The Electrical Trades Union wants stricter measures, including working in pairs. Obviously that comes at a cost, but you know, if you've got two people there's less chance of an attack. You've got someone who's a spotter. Police, WorkSafe and council investigations are now underway. The fate of the two dogs is yet to be decided. George Roberts, ABC News, Logan.
Very, very unfortunate indeed, be it close to Christmas or be whatever, someone's lost their life in a very tragic conditions, just going on with the daily duties. So that's the peril of the work that it comes with. Well, right now we go to the next news where former asbestos factory site embarked for government housing. Here's that report.
A sweeping, glossy vision for a site home to petroleum and pipelines. The state government wants residential towers here, near the former James Hardie asbestos factory, to accommodate Sydney's growing population. But getting this precinct up and running could be an Everest.
The Camellia Rosehill precinct has significant issues with remediation, with flooding, traffic, and the importance of being able to deliver open space and community facilities.
The government wants to rezone Camellia Rosehill and 6 other Western Sydney locations so 70,000 more homes can be built. It's trying to correct an undersupply.
We need to keep building homes. We can't have an Australia that can't house its children.
But many say service and infrastructure delivery, especially on Sydney's fringe, needs to be put first.
What we've seen happen in recent redevelopments of brownfield sites is that hasn't happened. The sequencing has been wrong.
These are not the right places to dump all the new population. The transportation facilities, the health facilities, the educational facilities, cultural facilities are just not there for these people in Western Sydney.
The huge increase in populations for communities west of Parramatta is nowhere near matched with the infrastructure that those communities need.
In a statement, the Planning Department says infrastructure funding will support the future rezoning. The government wants that done here and the other sites by 2024. Tim Swanston, ABC News.
Well, so there you go. When we talk about progress, we talk about infrastructure, but we also need to be mindful of what the community feels and what their sentiments are about the sites and the surroundings there as well. Well, right now we go to our next report, where the police offer $1 million for information on the suspected Palestinian.
It went off without warning.
They were the twin blasts that rocked Sydney 4 decades ago.
With the force of the explosion, I was thrown out of my chair and onto the floor.
those behind the 1982 bombing at the Israeli consulate that left 2 people injured and another just hours later at Bondi's Hakoah Club have never been found. Police hope a new $1 million reward will help solve the case.
I believe there would be people in the community with information that will assist in determining who was involved in these crimes.
Detectives want to speak to 3 people they believe could be involved, one of whom they think is still in the country.
It was an act of international terrorism. We were very fortunate that no one was killed in both of these incidences.
It comes as a coronial inquiry into the blasts kicked off, with the court hearing that evidence will suggest the explosives were made overseas by Hussein al-Umari, the founder of the Palestinian terror organisation known as 15 May. The Crown Advocate told the court that al-Umari was known as the grandfather of bomb makers and that the explosions were linked and committed by the same terror organisation. A detective told the court that police believe the 15 May organisation orchestrated the blasts with the help of individuals in Sydney and that the motive behind the explosion at the consulate was a hatred of Israel.
Closure is what this community is seeking, answers, and to provide the truth of what took place.
A plea for answers to a decades-long mystery. Husni Shams, ABC.
A decade-long mystery might soon be solved with that $1 million reward there. Hopefully they do find out, because it's been a decade, but of course justice has to be delivered. Well, right now there are reports which is showing decline in financial literacy. People are just not getting it, and now, where do they get this information? Well, people can learn mathematics and accounting, but financial literacy is another matter.
We talked about the big Hilda report that came out yesterday, that deep dive into all of our trends, everything, all sorts of Australian trends. The fascinating one that you've picked up on is financial literacy. It wasn't so good.
No, it's buried on page 63 of 154 pages, and you will be pleased to know that in terms of the 5 questions that were posed to the 17,500 respondents, I did get them all right, so big ticks for financial literacy for me. But you're right, it wasn't a really great result. In fact, literacy in financial concepts declined across the board, and in fact the biggest declines unfortunately were in our younger age group. So of the 5 questions, the average for the 15 to 24-year-old age group went from 3.4 correct on average to 2.9 correct on average. It's a very big drop. Some of the key trends, as I mentioned, that age distribution, so youngest to oldest, steepened, so there was still a decline in the older age groups, but it went from 4.2 to 4.1, so not a big decline.
It's very concerning because financial products are becoming more confusing, not simpler.
Correct. And some of the concepts, so the concepts that were tested were basic, like a maths question, like you invested $100 at 2%, what have you got at the end? There was also inflation relative, so you've earned 1%, but inflation goes up 2%, are you ahead or not? A couple of risk questions, diversification decreases or increases risk, and the third one was about your income goes up but so do prices, are you better off? The interesting thing is you're exactly correct. In this world of increasing technology, financial literacy is a critical tool, and we're seeing some more complex financial products. We've got superannuation invested for all Australians, the emergence of things like crypto, buy now pay later. It is quite disturbing that particularly for young people, the understanding of these financial concepts is on the decline.
The decline, and of course it is very, very confusing, especially looking at the super and the way they've got it structured with so many different funds and everything. The whole thing has been mishandled from the word go. It should not have been the way it was set out. And that's my view from the very, very beginning, from when it was introduced. Look, it's a good thing and it needs to be there, but the model or the way in which it was set, it was a system that was open to rot, and that's what's happened in many, many cases as well. Well, right now, before we go to our daily India report, the last news in this segment is the telescope construction site work begins.
A remote installation searching for some of the most remote signals in our universe.
There's really nothing else like it on the world. There are other radio telescopes, other optical telescopes, but there's nothing even comparable to this.
Deep in the WA outback on Wodjiri country, more than 130,000 antennas will be constructed as part of the world's biggest scientific facility. It's an intergalactic project with international connections. Radio dishes will be built in South Africa and 15 other countries are involved.
Each of the countries is bringing their area of expertise. The antennas are made in Italy. India will lead some of the software work. China is doing some of the signal and timing work for our telescope.
This site will download data to the equivalent of 8 million megabits per second, 8 million. And then it'll funnel that to the Pawsey Centre, Pawsey Supercomputing Centre in Perth.
Construction will begin early next year, but it'll be another 4 years until scientists can start collecting useful data. They're not quite sure what they're going to find, but hope it leads them to discoveries yet to be imagined.
And we're hoping that for the first time with SKLO we'll be able to map that epoch of the universe. So that will help us understand how the very first stars were born and then how the first galaxies were born out of those stars.
Looking for the origins of our universe from Outback WA. Rachel Clifford, ABC News, Murchison.
The quest never stops. So, one day we will get it because the truth is out there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now it's time to go to our daily India report.
Welcome to the Daily India Report that brings you reports, interviews, features and more on India and the Indian diaspora. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has thanked his global counterparts for supporting India's G20 presidency. The presidents of the United States, France and the Prime Minister of Japan congratulated on India assuming the G20 presidency. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on December 5th thanked his global counterparts for extending their support to India as the country assumed the G20 presidency on December 1st. Prime Minister Modi responded to US President Joe Biden, French President Emmanuel Macron and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's congratulatory messages on Twitter. US President Joe Biden in his tweet had said that the US is supporting India and PM Modi during the G20 presidency. He also said, India-US together will advance sustainable and inclusive growth while tackling shared challenges like the climate, energy and food crisis. In response, Modi tweeted, "Thank you at POTUS. Your valued support will be a source of strength for India's G20 presidency. It is important we all work together to build a better planet." Responding to the French President, Modi wrote, "Thank you, my dear friend at Emmanuel Macron. I look forward to consulting you closely during India's G20 presidency as we work to focus the world's attention on the issues that affect humanity as a whole." In response to Japan's Kishida's congratulatory message, the Prime Minister wrote, "Your solidarity is vital. Japan has contributed a lot to global well-being and I am confident the world will continue to learn from Japan's successes on various fronts." At Kishida 230. On December 1st, India took the helm of the G20 in what has been called a huge opportunity for the country. On the occasion, the Prime Minister had said India's G20 priorities will be shaped in consultation with not just our G20 partners but also our fellow travelers in the global south whose voice often goes unheard. On December 5th, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be chairing a meeting with heads of all major parties to evolve a political consensus on India's goals during its first presidency of the G20. The meeting will also get a detailed briefing on the presidential goals for the leaders across party lines before seeking their suggestions. Unlike other all-party meetings, only the chiefs of political parties have been invited for the briefing at the Rashtrapati Bhavan Cultural Centre in the evening. Indian state of Rajasthan Congress unit shows united face despite recent mudslinging as Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra enters Rajasthan.
Senior Congress leader and former Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot on December 4th urged everyone to join the historic Bharat Jodo Yatra led by Rahul Gandhi as it entered the state of Rajasthan. Ahead of the Yatra entering the state, Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot and Pilot presented a united face despite their differences and an ongoing tug of war for the CM's post. Pilot and Gehlot have been bitter rivals for years, but things came to a head in 2020 when the former rebelled against CM Gehlot's leadership. Dismissing apprehensions that the infighting may affect the Yatra's Rajasthan leg, Pilot on December 4th said that the party state unit is fully united. As far as Rahul Ji's Yatra is concerned, there is complete unanimity in the party and we are working together to make it a success. Lauding Rahul Gandhi, Pilot said, the issue on which Rahul Gandhi has taken out Yatra is being accepted by the people enthusiastically. The support of the people for the Yatra is increasing manifold. The 3,570-kilometer cross-country march, which entered Rajasthan on December 4th from Madhya Pradesh, began on September 7th from Kanyakumari and has already covered parts of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Maharashtra. A grand welcome was given to Gandhi in the Congress-ruled states, Jhalawar. Gandhi, along with Gehlot, Pilot and State Unit Chief Govind Singh Dotasra, held hands and danced with folk artists on the stage. The Yatra will stay in Rajasthan till December 21st.
Polling has begun for the second and final phase of assembly elections in the Indian state of Gujarat.
Polling is being held on December 5th for the second and final phase of assembly elections in the western state of Gujarat. Voting, which began at 8 in the morning, will conclude at 5 in the evening. According to reports, till 11 a.m., the voter turnout was recorded to be 19%. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also arrived to cast his vote at the Nishan Public School, which comes under the Sabarmati Assembly constituency. In Gujarat Assembly elections this time, the incumbent BJP is also facing a challenge from the Arvind Kejriwal-led Aam Aadmi Party besides the principal opposition Congress. Voting is taking place for 93 constituencies spread over 14 districts including Ahmedabad, Vadodara and Gandhinagar. A total of 833 candidates including 69 women are in the fray. Prominent among them are Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel and 7 of his cabinet colleagues. Other BJP leaders in the fray include Hardik Patel and Alpesh Thakur. Congress leaders Sukhram Ratawa and Jignesh Mawani and Aam Aadmi Party leaders Bharat Singh Vakhala and Bhema Bhai Chaudhary are also contesting in this phase. The Election Commission has made elaborate arrangements to ensure free and fair polling. Over 26,000 polling booths have been set up. State Chief Electoral Officer P. Bharti has appealed to the people to vote in large numbers. The counting of votes will be taken up on the 8th of December.
Google CEO Sundar Pichai was awarded India's third highest civilian award, Padma Bhushan, for the year 2022.
Indian origin Google CEO Sundar Pichai was awarded the Padma Bhushan, India's third highest civilian award for 2022 in the trade and industry category on December 3rd in the presence of his close family members in San Francisco. Indian ambassador to the US Taranjeet Singh Sandhu handed over the award to Pichai and said that his inspirational journey reaffirms Indian talent's contribution to global innovation. Delighted to hand over Padma Bhushan to Google CEO Sundar Pichai in San Francisco. His inspirational journey from Madurai to Mountain View, strengthening India-America economic and tech ties, reaffirms Indian talent's contribution to global innovation, Sandhu wrote on Twitter. Upon receiving the prestigious award, Pichai in his blog said, India is a part of me and I carry it with me wherever I go. I was fortunate to grow up in a family that cherished learning and knowledge, with parents who sacrificed a lot to make sure I had opportunities to explore my interests. Pichai added, I am deeply grateful to the Indian government and the people of India for his immense honour. It is incredibly meaningful to be honoured in this way by the country that shaped me. Pichai also recalled Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of technology to combine the 3S: speed, simplicity and service. We recently announced that we will be investing $10 billion in India's digital future, working to enable more affordable internet access, building products for India's unique needs, helping businesses of all sizes in their digital transformation, and using AI to tackle big societal challenges, the Google CEO said.
India rolls out Digi Yatra, a facial recognition technology to enable paperless travel for domestic passengers.
Indian domestic passengers can now seamlessly fly out of New Delhi, Bengaluru and Varanasi by registering for Digi Yatra, which enables paperless travel through biometric facial recognition technology. A facial scan will confirm the identity of DY registered passengers who then do not need to show any physical ID proof. Their travel details will also be captured in this technology. The FRT was rolled out for 3 airports by Indian Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia last week at Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport. In the first phase, 7 airports will be DY enabled, starting with Delhi, Bengaluru and Varanasi. By March 2023, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Pune and Vijayawada airports will get this facility. The project envisages travellers pass through various checkpoints at airports through paperless and contactless processing using facial features to establish their identity, which could be linked to their boarding boarding pass. To use this facility, one-time registration on DY app is required using Aadhaar-based validation and a self-image capture. The project has tremendous advantages of improving passenger convenience and ease of travel, Sindhya said.
Bangladesh has pulled off a shocking win against India in the first one-day international played in Dhaka.
Less than a month after its 10-wicket semi-final loss to England in the T20 World Cup, India snatched a defeat from the jaws of victory as Bangladesh won the first one-day international by 1 wicket to lead the 3-match series 1-0. Bangladesh won the toss and decided to bowl first at the Sher-e-Bangla Stadium in Dhaka on December 4th. India struggled to get going as it lost its top 3 batsmen cheaply before KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer steadied the ship. But Bangladesh bowlers kept chipping away at the wickets and India was bundled out for 186 all out in 41.2 overs. Bangladesh started cautiously in chasing a low total. They had a few partnerships that helped them keep the momentum going. But quick wickets in the middle rocked them as they went from 95 for 3 in 23 overs to 136 for 9 in 40 overs. But it was an astonishing comeback with Mehdi Hasan Miraz and Mustafizur Rahman adding 51 runs for the 10th wicket, the 4th highest by any team in a successful chase, to beat India by 1 wicket at Dhaka Sher-e-Bangla National Stadium and take a 1-0 lead in the 3-match series. Mustafizur presented the full face of the bat and put a price on his scalp as Miraz went about knocking off the runs in a stunning counter-attack, hitting 4 boundaries and 2 sixes in the process. The pressure soon started to tell on the Indian bowling and in the 43rd over, KL Rahul even dropped a scare from Miraz despite donning the wicket-keeper's gloves. Miraz used that to take his team home with 4 overs to spare.
Kartik Aaryan looks impressive as he brilliantly portrays the complexities of an introverted dentist in his film Freddy. The film also stars Alaya F and is directed by Shashank Ghosh.
Kartik Aaryan, who is known for his comedy films and monologues with the youth relate to in real life, has moved out of his comfort zone as he plays an introvert and loner dentist in his latest film, Freddy. The film is dark, deep, intense and extremely toxic, and that is what goes in favor of the film. Kartik Aaryan in a never-seen-before avatar sends chills down your spine. The film brilliantly encapsulates the complexities and eccentricities of his character. Directed by Shashank Ghosh, an edge-of-the-seat thriller terrifies you, scares you and in some places simply creeps you out. The story is of a 28-year-old introvert, recluse and loner dentist Dr. Freddy Jinwala who has been looking for a soulmate. Freddy falls for a married woman, Kainaz Irani, who is stuck in a physically abusive marriage. A series of events bring them closer and they fall in love. At 2 hours 13 minutes, Freddy doesn't look stretched nor does it go off track. Kartik is flawless, immerses himself in this character and doesn't leave it for one bit. He talks more with his expressions, eyes and gestures than actual words. Alaya is impressive and for a second film after a debut Jawani Diwani, Alaya definitely has picked up the nuances well and delivers a promising performance. Overall, Freddy makes for a bone-chilling watch with a story that unfolds just like its layered characters. The film is now streaming on Disney Plus Hotstar.
That's all for this bulletin of the Daily India Report.
And thank you very much, Ankita, for that report today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now it's time to go to our functions and events. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have time for you in this segment today. And it's been wonderful having your company. Don't forget that tomorrow we have the 2 segments. We have the 9 a.m. news, and then at 10 a.m. we will have Usha Chandra of GlobeNet Realty with her weekly real estate update. Until then, it's goodbye from us.